get my 6. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Homesteading Off the Grid and whatever the hell this channel's about. Today, this channel is about how I just realized this morning that I was playing right into their hands like a fool. And I didn't realize it until it was almost too late. And no, I'm not intentionally growing a beard. I just didn't feel like shaving while I was under the weather with the world's least favorite coronavirus. I do have coffee. Yes, I heard those footsteps as well, so watch behind me. You never know who or what may show up in the background of a crazy lake video. So, how am I doing? Aside from being in desperate need of a shave, which is coming, I feel great. What is today? Sunday? Friday? So 9 days ago, I tested positive, had it pretty rough for a few days, started improving quickly. And yesterday, if you follow the channel, you know I ran for the first time in more than a week. Woke up this morning, and for the first time since testing positive, I didn't have even a slight degree of a headache. I felt great. I woke up and I thought, I feel great. I thought, well, let's continue to take my life back. Let's go for a morning run. And I thought, well, yesterday I ran really slow and easy for 10 minutes, even got it on video. So I thought, well, just go for 15 minutes. And today's Sunday, and there's no one out. I live out in the middle of nowhere. So I said, well, go out on the road and go at a nice, easy, controlled pace. Don't overdo it, and just see how it goes. Run out 7.5, 8 minutes, turn around and come back. So I did that, and I started my watch just so I would know, when to turn around. And at the turnaround mark, it occurred to me that I was running 7.5 minute mile pace, because I went out, I ran a mile, turned around, came back, and it wasn't even labored. Felt great. Had breakfast with my family. My son said, hey, Dad, you want to go out and shoot basketball? And I said, sure, let's go play basketball. Ended up shooting basketball with my son for 30 minutes, beat him in horse again. Then we sat down on the front porch. It was in the mid-60s today here in Central Virginia. We talked for maybe another half an hour just hanging out, and he ran off to do something. And I thought, well, it's a beautiful day. I'm still feeling great. I think I'll split and stack some firewood. So I did that for about an hour to an hour and a half. And it just occurred to me, I'm over this thing. I honestly believe I'm over it. But here's what I'm talking about as far as playing into their hands. At some point throughout the day, I did get online, checked emails and whatnot, and I saw a story about a guy, one of these alt-right / conspiracy theory type guys who I guess would identify as an anti-vaxxer, who just held a big rally in Texas somewhere. And, his co-conspirator, I'm not going to mention the names of his fellows because I don't want to give them any sort of acknowledgement on this channel due to some of the heinous acts they've committed in the past with the spreading of misinformation, especially in regard to every parent's worst nightmare. And I think you know what I'm talking about and who I'm talking about. But I saw that they had this massive rally. There's all kinds of people there who have chosen not to be vaccinated and who choose not to wear masks. And now, in the aftermath of this rally, this man is in the hospital, hooked up on a ventilator, having contracted COVID. I'm a human being, just like everybody watching this channel. And when I saw that, one of the first thoughts to race to my mind was, wow, this is one of those, I'm not going to say, I will not accuse him because I don't know, but I'm fairly confident that a lot of folks who follow this guy might be some of the people who have been coming on my channel telling me that they hope that I die to prove that even if you're fully vaccinated, you can still get COVID and die, and to prove that they were right and we were wrong. But then I caught myself, because then, as a human being, the question then comes from my mind, should I feel the same about this guy? Should I hope for the worst outcome for this guy in his situation? Well, then, of course, the part of me that has a say in my thoughts, the part of me that can step back from the oftentimes ugly human part of me, said, hell no, I don't wish that upon anybody. So this guy made the choice not to get vaccinated for whatever reasons. So this guy chose to lead a rally. It's us against them for whatever reasons. He's come down with this thing, and now he literally is fighting for his life against this thing. I wish him the best. I hope he pulls out of it. And that's when it occurred to me, OMG, I have played right into their hands without even realizing it because of some of the nasty, vile things people have said to me. I almost gave the wrong answer to the question that the human being in me asked. The hands I've played into, the age-old hands of let's get the people fighting amongst themselves and no one can challenge our control of them. Now, that sounds conspiratorial. I don't mean it as such because I'm not talking about some men behind the curtain, some powers that be. In this case, I think we might all be able to agree that one of the entities that love to play this game is simply mainstream media. Hey, I used to be a journalist. I used to work in media. I used to work in blogging. I used to do all that stuff. Clicks equals money. And that's all there is to it. And the more they can get the people infighting, the more clicks they can get and the more money they can make. It's that simple. They don't care if you and I, the vaccinated and the unvaccinated, both die. As long as we can keep fighting all the way to our graves, they're going to make more money off of it. Folks, it's not us versus them. It's not left versus right. It's not conservative versus liberal. It's not science versus faith. It is life versus death, and this is we're all in this together. And nobody's getting out alive under either scenario. Okay, so I've kicked this thing's butt. I've kicked it out of my system. I'm going to die at some point, hopefully of old age, in my sleep. That's how we'd all like to go. But I'm not getting out of this thing alive, this thing called life, any more than anyone else. So while we're here, it truly is our responsibility to not hate each other. Okay, we don't have to hate or we don't have to maybe love that other person. We don't even have to like them, but we certainly don't have to hate them. And we definitely don't have to wish the worst case scenario upon them. I'm going to quote Tupac again. He says, hey, just because, you're not my boss anymore, I don't want you as a friend, doesn't mean I want you as an enemy. I still want you to eat, just not at my table. I'm going to give a shout out to a longtime viewer, a longtime supportive viewer, who has shared this in the comment section publicly, so I'm sure he won't mind me sharing it here. A man who has chosen for his own personal reasons not to receive any of the vaccines against the coronavirus. His name's Bill Pull, and he lives up in Pittsburgh. And Bill's been a follower of this channel for some time. He sent me a couple really awesome flashlights, and he's requesting a night hunt again. And I've been a bit under the weather, as you know. I will be getting out to do another night hunt very soon with those wonderful flashlights. So for whatever personal reasons, Bill has chosen not to get vaccinated. While my wife and I have been suffering from the coronavirus here over the last week and a half or so, Bill has been one of our biggest supporters. He has wished us well. He has prayed for us. He has mentioned these things in the comment section. He has been hoping the whole time that we pull out of it and we return to our good health. And we have. Okay, even though my wife and I were vaccinated, and again, I'll be consulting with my healthcare provider about getting the booster. There's still some conversation out there. How long do you wait after you've contracted the virus to get it? Do you still need it? I'm going to let my doctor answer those questions for me, and I'm going to take him up on his advice. This is in opposition to what Mr. Poole, Bill Poole up in Pittsburgh, has done. But Bill has not made the choice to hate me. He has continued to support me and my wife through our endeavor as I do him. Do I hope that people like Bill get this virus because they've made the choice not to get vaccinated? Absolutely not. Why would I want something bad to happen to someone who I wholeheartedly feel is good? Just because his choice is different than mine doesn't make him a bad person, and it doesn't mean he's unsupportive, and he's not sitting around eating a bowl of popcorn rooting for me to die like he's watching his favorite football team playing a bowl game. By the way, in case you haven't heard, I won't be watching my favorite football team, the UVA Cavaliers, playing a bowl game, because just today we had to back out of the bowl game because so many of the players tested positive for COVID. I think this is 3 bowl games now that this has been the case. It's a mess right now, and it's going to get messier, especially as we go into the new year, especially as this variant continues to rage. My wife and I and the UVA's football team seem to be some of the earlier folks to have gotten it. I personally believe the wave's going to swell. It's going to be bigger. It's up to each and every single one of us to make the choices that we feel is in our best interest and in our family's best interest to protect ourselves from this thing. But to go around hating other people who've made a different choice than us is insane. Let me tell you the meaning behind my book, The Lunatic, which you can get on Amazon in print or Kindle, or in print copy with an autograph from our Etsy store, and the link is in the description box below. There was an event that took place that inspired the creation of that book. Now, the main character is largely based on one particular lunatic that I do know. It's insane. It's just the insanity of that particular lunatic. It made it a very easy book to write, and I've been formulating that book in my mind for some time. But what allowed me to finalize my decision to write that book is the fact that last November, my family and I were in Washington, D.C. to renew my wife's Philippines passport because it had expired, and as well as my son's, so they could take their trip to the Philippines, which they did this year. They were gone for 3 months. We just so happened to be in D.C. on the day that it was announced that Joe Biden defeated Donald Trump in the presidential election. It was Reveler City. I mean, they were partying in the streets, and we were staying on DuPont Circle, which is within walking distance of the White House. So I said to my family, we were out having late lunch, early dinner, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I said, hey, this is an historic event. You know, whether you like the results or not, to be in D.C. on the day that something like this is announced is a rare occurrence. Let's walk down to the White House and let's, just participate in these events a bit. So we walked down to the White House, and there were people everywhere. The closer we got to the White House, the more it became apparent to me that the folks, the majority of them, were not celebrating the fact that Joe Biden won the election. They were celebrating the fact that Donald Trump had lost. I get it. A lot of people didn't like him, okay? But here's what I didn't get, and this is what made me almost throw up, and this is what terrified my wife and made her want to turn around and get out of there and go back to our hotel room, which we did. We saw hordes of people holding signs that said, to the effect, "Hate has no home here." So their sign said, "Hate has no home here," while they were screaming at the top of their lungs how much they hated Donald Trump, how much they hated anyone who supported Donald Trump, how much they hated anyone who voted for Donald Trump, while they held signs that said, "Hate has no home here." And that's a light example of some of the things we saw and some of the things we heard. What I will say is that had anybody been dumb enough to hold up a sign that said they supported Donald Trump in the mix of that mayhem, I can only imagine what would have happened to that person. And I'm not being political here. I'm being factual about what I saw. And the point is the lunacy, i.e. the lunatic, behind people not being able to see the hypocrisy of holding up a sign that says, "Hate has no home here," while spewing nothing but hatred out of their mouths for people who think differently than they think. Sure, the people that have come on here in the last week and have said that they hope I die, since I was vaccinated, then I got the virus anyway. They hope I die so they can be right. That's vile. That's very vile. I will not reciprocate such vileness. As a matter of fact, right now, I want to ask for a moment of prayer. I want to ask, I don't care if you worship the Christian God, the Jewish God, the Islamic God, the Hindu God, or no God at all. Whatever your faith is, if it's meditation, if you clear your mind and you focus on one person that needs help, I want to ask each and everybody watching to lift a man named Doug Kuzma up in prayer. Doug Kuzma is the man who was in charge of that rally in Texas, who is currently, as of the video I'm making right now, and according to the articles in the media, hooked up to a ventilator, fighting for his life. Doug Kuzma is a human being. I don't know him. I've never met him. I understand that he feels differently than me in regard to this coronavirus. Despite that, I wish him no ill will. Dear God, I pray you will bring the healing as only you can through your Son, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, to Mr. Kuzma. Doug Kuzma, at this time, pray your will be done with this. And Lord, I ask that the people of the world stop hating each other for any reason, especially simply because they have different views and different opinions. Amen. I was playing right into their hands. I was coming on here and taking some cheap shots at the anti-vaxxers as well. You're not going to play me, big stream, mainstream media. You will not convince me to hate anybody because of their skin color, because of their gender identification, because of their sexual preference, because of their nationality, or because of their vaccination views. We are all one race. It's called the human race. And coronavirus is killing everybody. Black, brown, yellow, Christian, Jew, Islamic, atheist. We're all susceptible to this. And it's my prayer that we all see this and we stop the hate. Those people holding the signs were right as far as what their signs said. Hate has no home here. But listen, hate has no home here either, in our hearts, in our minds, and we certainly have no business spewing it from our mouths. Let there be peace on earth among all of us. Let it begin with me. Let it begin with you. Stop the hate. Stay safe. See you next time.